Hi everyone, I'm going to show you a little bit about a program called Nearpod. I'm currently on the website of Nearpod, but there's also an app available for the iPads. Before we sign in, I do want to just show you here on the home page, if you scroll down, they have a lot of good infographics and just little tutorials and things like that that can help you if you are new. They have some videos and things like that, so be sure to check that out if you need some further information. So we're going to go ahead and sign in. And our district does have the paid version of this, which is nice. It just kind of unlocks some features. We're going to log in with Google, which is always a really nice, easy way to sign in. And then it's going to bring you up to your dashboard. Right on your dashboard, you can go to My Library. That would be lessons that you've created. You can explore lessons that other people have already created and kind of like their store where you can purchase ones. You can join a lesson, so this would be if you're a student and you need to join in on one, or maybe you're a teacher and you're attending a professional development where they're giving the presentation through Nearpod. You can create one from scratch, and you can also check out reports from lessons that your students have done. So I'm going to start here with this Explore tab. This is a really nice feature, especially if you're just starting out with Nearpod and you just kind of want to test it out before you dive in full force and create one on your own. If you just kind of want to get a sense of the flow of a Nearpod, this provides lots of them that are already made for you. You're able to filter them, whether they're free, paid, subjects, resource type, grade level, that kind of thing. So you can even do it by standard. So that's a really nice feature if you want one that's already made and you're just trying to kind of get your feet wet, or just to sometimes see what's already out there and just gather some ideas. So I'm going to go back now to My Library. These are Nearpods that I have already created in the past. So I'm going to show you how I made this one here actually. So we're going to go to the Create tab. And this is kind of what it looks like at the very beginning. So you can create within Nearpod. So I could add slides and things like that, but I found that it's a little bit more limiting in the formatting. So you'll notice that you can drag and drop files. So the way that I go about this is I usually create my presentation in Google Slides, and then I insert it into Nearpod and can add the little interactive features. So I've created in Google Slides a presentation that I'd like. And this is really nice because you can take a PowerPoint maybe that you've had for a really long time and it's got really great content in it, and you know it's a tried and true lesson, but you're just looking for a way to make it more interactive and engaging. You can take that lesson, don't abandon ship. You can take that lesson and then just put it into Nearpod to bring that engagement piece in. So if this was a PowerPoint you already had or you created it just now, either way, it doesn't matter. So you can tell on Google Slides, I've just kind of created some different things, some questions. It says, why do we use graphs? These are just simple ones. But then you'll see I've created some where I've asked them to do something. So for example, this one says, do you notice anything different about the bottom two graphs? Circle something that you see that is different than the top two graphs. So I'm already kind of setting the stage for some interaction. This one also says, see if you can figure out how many people voted for each type of ice cream. They're going to have to use the key to realize one ice cream cone represents two people, and they would use a pen tool to write the numbers beside here. Once again, I have some things that I want them to like circle, to label. I have some multiple choice problems where I'm asking them not only to select an answer, but to show their work. So for this one, how many total people did they collect data from? They're going to have to add up, obviously. Each cookie is worth two students, so they would go through and add all of those up, and I'm hoping they would show their work on that one. I'm also asking them to create some graphs, like a pictograph and a bar graph, and then I also have a slide for them to do some self-evaluation, which this is really nice because I've now taken something that I would have done as an exit ticket and had to take time to print and cut and collect and all of that, and I can now do it digitally within this lesson and have instant feedback. So if I'm ready, I'm going to go over here to, I'm going to go here to where I was going to create. And I'm going to upload files. And it gets linked right here to my Google Drive. I can also upload from Dropbox or like files on my computer, that kind of thing. So I'm going to go really quick to my Google Drive. It's going to take just a moment to load. Okay. And I believe it was right down there, Graphing Intro, 2nd grade. So this was that presentation in Google Slides that I was just showing you. And it is now pulling that from Google Slides into Nearpod. Okay, it's going to take just a little bit of time. It's processing, as you can see. And I'm going to pause it and be right back as soon as it's done loading. Okay, my slides are loaded now into Nearpod. So you can see they're the exact same slides that I had over there. Here's the part where I want to find those slides where I had intended them to be interactive. So for example, this one, I put the directions in bright orange box just because it was easier for me. So this one was the one that asked if there was anything different about the graphs and to circle it. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm actually going to change it where it says convert to draw it. This is going to allow students, when I flip to this slide, it's going to allow them to write on their slide, and then it's going to send all of their responses to me in real time. So yes, I want to change it into a draw, and I can have that choice, to keep the original, or if I don't need the original, which I don't in this case, I could delete. I could even just click no. So there's another one with directions. I want to convert to draw. I don't want to keep the original. I don't need an extra copy of it. And I'm just going to go through all of those parts that I wanted to be interactive. Down here I had the multiple choice ones. There is an option when I add to add some other features. So I can either add content. So that would be like a slide that I created within this. I can add some 3D items. These are really nice for science. Say you're studying like moon phases, there's the Earth and the moon, that kind of thing. There are also some little simulations that are especially good for science. There's some videos, there's virtual field trips, which are really great. Let's say you're studying the Great Wall of China, your kids can actually go there, and then maybe on the next slide you ask some questions about it. You can add a sway if you would like, slideshow, videos, audio, maybe a PDF that you have. I don't use the Twitter stream for the elementary school students, obviously. I can add web content. So this is a URL if I want to send them to a particular website. This is especially great for young students, so they're not typing in a really long URL. It will send them directly there. And then the other part I really like is to add an activity. I can add an open-ended question. This is really great if I'm wanting to gauge some background knowledge. So this might even be, what is a fraction? If I'm wanting to see what do the kids already know, they can put their responses, type them directly into there and I can see them. I can add a poll. So if I want to give some choices of things, I can add a quiz where that is multiple choice and I can see all of their results and they can even see which ones they got right and wrong. The draw are the ones just like I already converted where they can draw on things. There's the collaboration piece where your whole class can work together on something. Fill in the blank, and then memory test is just like that old-fashioned memory game. That's really great with vocabulary. But I wanted to point out the reason I'm not using the quiz feature for the multiple choice slides that I had is because the multiple choice just allows you to click A, B, C, or D. On these, I wanted them to have to show some work to go with it, so that's why I'm choosing to actually just convert these into the draw it. I don't need to have that. Okay. I did want to show you, here I had put a reminder that I wanted to insert a poll. What color eyes do you have? So that our class could collect some data. So I had just added that as a slide on my Google slide so I wouldn't forget to put a poll question in. But I'm going to go up to Add Slide. And I'm going to do Add Activity Poll. here's where I can enter the question, what color eyes do you have? And then I can put brown, blue, green. And I only want my students to pick one answer, so we're not saying, well, they're in between a brown and a green. For this data, we just want one clear answer. We're going to save that. I had the option also to add video or picture if I needed to go with my poll. And now it's added it down here to the bottom, but I want it to go right where this slide was. So I'm now going to put it up there, and I don't need this anymore. I'm going to delete it. That was just a reminder for me to add a poll there. Okay, so on and so on. So I would keep adding the ones that I needed to. Right here, I wanted to add a video about making a bar graph. So once again, I just put that in there as a reminder that I wanted to add the video, but instead I could go to add slide. And there's a few different ways I could do this. So I could go to video here and just put in the YouTube URL. And right there's the bar graph video that I wanted. If I had a video on my desktop, I could also do it like that. So I'm going to save that. And now once again, it's put it in here in the bottom. I'm going to drag it up to where I had that slide saying, put this video in. And now I don't need this. That was just my reminder to add a video. Okay. When I'm done with everything, I'll save and exit. Here's where it's going to let me just give a little information about my lesson. So I'm going to call it Graphing Second Graders. I'm going to say it is for second grade math. Okay. It's now going to be added to my library. It shows up right here. And I have two options of how to deliver this now. I can show this presentation as a live lesson. That means that I control the pace of it. And as I flip through the slides on my computer or my iPad, it will automatically change the slide on the student's iPad. So I know they have to stay on the same screen as me. It lets me kind of pace through it and lets me be a little bit more in control. I really recommend this one, especially for when you're introducing a topic for the first time. There is this other student-paced option, which allows the students to go at their own pace through the slideshow, and it allows them to freely click forward through the slides. This is really great if you're looking to use it as a center, or maybe if you want to assign something for homework, like as a flipped classroom lesson, or maybe if you have a substitute and you just want, you know, the substitute to be able to put up the code and the kids can pace themselves through it. That's really a nice feature. I'm going to show you what the live lesson looks like though. This is the one that I tend to use the most. So it will bring up this unique code, and you can see I can share that a couple different ways. I've used it before through Google Classroom. That's better, you know, for upper elementary, but especially if you are working with younger elementary, I just display this on the smartboard, and I'll show you what that looks like on the student end when they are ready to log in. So we're going to hop over to my iPad so you can kind of see what it looks like for a student perspective. Okay, so over here is my iPad screen, and then right here we are on my desktop as the teacher. So this is going to be kind of what the teacher sees. This is going to be what the student sees. So here is our code. I know it's different. I just went and picked the presentation that I had already finished just for the sake of time. I wasn't going to go through and finish editing the other one. So I'm going to use that code on my iPad. I'm going to click on the Nearpod app. And the nice thing about this is students don't have to have their own accounts. So it really cuts down on your time. So if I just had this code displayed, I would go ahead and type that in as the student, VGDIF, and join. And then it's going to ask me to enter my name or my nickname, and I'm just going to call myself Susie for this one and join the session. And then I'm stuck on this screen as the student until my teacher moves us forward to the next screen. So that way I'm kind of right with her and on the slide that I need to be on instead of getting distracted by something else. So on the teacher's side, I can see students that have joined my session. So there's Susie, and then I've actually joined as another student, John, on another iPad off screen, just so you can see what it looks like when multiple students are interacting with this Nearpod. So as you watch, as my teacher slide moves forward, you'll see the student slide move as well. So if I'm ready as the teacher and I click on the next one, it changes what my students see as well. So as we would kind of start discussing our graphing topic, we could go through and it's going to come to our first draw it activity. So as a student, I see this screen. I have my directions already on there, and then you'll see these tools that I have down here at the bottom. I can add text, I can add images, take a picture of something, I can highlight things, I can draw, that's my eraser, all of these different things. So the directions were to circle something that I noticed was different. So I'm going to pick red as my color, and I'm going to point out that, wow, these two down here happen to have a key and those don't. So I'm going to go ahead when I'm ready, and I'm going to push submit as the student. And yes, I'm sure I want to submit that drawing. And over here, you'll see it shows the background image, and then I can see all of my students that are logged in. And now that Susie has submitted, I can see hers automatically. I can see a little preview of it here, or I can click on it and bring it up and see exactly what she drew or what she wrote. So for example, if I was John, I'll show you really quick, maybe the teacher would instantly know that he was confused if this was his answer. So it's waiting on his, and as soon as he submits his, we'll take a look at his. Oh, it's loading. Okay, and then as the teacher, I'm able to see, John is confused. He had no idea what to circle there. So once again, I'm getting instant data. I already know that maybe John is struggling with this concept. The other really cool thing that I love about this is maybe I want to share what Susie found. I can click this red share, and I want you to watch what happens on all of the student iPads. I'll push share, and Susie's response comes up. Here's the nice thing. I, as the teacher, know whose it is. The students do not. That is a feature that I can turn off if I'd like, but I tend to keep it anonymous. That way, students, feel very comfortable, and we're focused more about the actual material instead of whose was that or embarrassing anybody. I actually really like to share ones that had a misconception, and then we all work together and say, okay, this person almost had it. What do you think is missing? Or can anybody find the tiny mistake? Or what could that person do differently next time? And it doesn't point out Susie then, and Susie feels embarrassed. So that's a really awesome feature. So once again, I'm going to move forward. There's several more draw it features that I have throughout here. And then I finally gotten to the slide where I have a video, and it gives me the option, which I really like. It says, where would you like to play this video? Do I want to play it on this device only, meaning it would play up on the smart board on the computer so that we all watch it at once, or do I want it to play on each individual device where the kids would put on their headphones and they can kind of watch it on their own time? And then you can apply it in case you have other videos embedded that you can just make the decision once. I'm going to say on this device only. For the sake of time, we don't have to get out headphones and all of that. And then we could watch the video. You can see on here, it says the video is paused on this device. So my kids can't be messing with anything on their iPads. Their eyeballs should be on the board as we watch this together. And then I usually add a slide after this that says like one thing that you learned from the video. So that way it keeps them attentive. So it says, what is one thing you learned about bar graphs from the video? I can say there has to be a title. Okay, John's going to submit that. And then Susie might say, I learned that the bars shouldn't touch. Submit. Okay, once again, as the teacher, I can see their answers show up on here. And this is really nice. I can tell when everybody's done. Sometimes I know you just have to move on, or I'm able at least to give a countdown. to know that everybody's with me. Like, okay, if I've got 90%, I might say, okay, guys, let's wrap up your answers. I'm going to give you, 15 more seconds to try to finish up your answer. So this keeps me on a better pacing as well to know if it says only 20% of my students are finished, I know that they need more time. So once again, I can see all of their answers here. And if I want to say, oh, wow, look, this person brought up a really good point, I can share it. And it's now on everybody's iPad. Then maybe I want to talk about the one that Susie brought up, and I might say, oh, this person had a really good point too, that the bars shouldn't touch in our bar graph. So on and so on. Okay. And then this one, once again, has a draw it. Hang on. It's going to load. There we go. Where I would circle maybe the titles of the graphs in blue, underline them in green, and I can use the color pen down here as well. I'm just going to kind of flip forward really quick. I want to get to some of these multiple choice ones where I ask them to show their work. So for example, this one, when I'm asking how many people did we survey, maybe their work would look like this. Since all of the cookies were each of the symbols were worth 2 cookies, maybe they could skip count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Maybe they'll write beside each one 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 2, 4, 6. And then maybe Susie makes a careless mistake and she says these are worth 10, and then maybe I'll just say 10 plus 8, and I'll say my answer is 18. And I don't see 18 on here, so I'm just going to circle 10 because that seems pretty close to my answer, and I'm going to submit. So now, as the teacher, I can see the misconception that Susie had. I can see that she went about the process of figuring out that each of the symbols was worth 2 cookies and that she knew how many were in each one, and that her error was just from a simple addition error. So I've automatically got a little bit of an inside look at how she got the answer that she got. Once again, if I wanted to share this out to everybody, I'm doing it anonymously, but I could talk about that misconception and see if the students could help find the mistake, or how could this person be more careful next time. Okay. And then if I wanted to collect some data through a poll, I could have students answering a question about what color eyes they have. I could share out the results of that. They can be making a pictograph, a bar graph. They could just use their pen to draw. Maybe they had however many of each color. We're just going to kind of make it up here from our data that we gathered as a class. And once again, I could submit that. Okay, I'm going to kind of fast forward here to the self-evaluation part. This is really nice, like I said, because this used to be a whole separate piece of my lessons, but I can build it in, and there's no more wasted time now grading those exit tickets really quickly to figure out what to do tomorrow. I can see it right away. So let's say maybe Susie says, I get it. And maybe John says, you know what, I really don't get this, help. I don't understand. So now when we submit, I can see exactly who feels which way about it, but I can also get a really good glance at all of them and say, oh, wow, it looks like a lot of people circled 3 that I get it, or, oh gosh, a lot of people don't get this. I need to reevaluate what my lesson plans are for tomorrow. So that's just kind of an overlook of just a few of the features in Nearpod. It's really great for beginners because, like I said, you can use the pre-made lessons in the store. You can take presentations that you already have made in the past and just make them more engaging with Nearpod, or you can start from scratch and build your own Nearpod lessons. But I really think it's going to transform the way that you deliver instruction.